Part 72. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 711. Chapter 711 Abortion Surgery 3. You can scold me all you want, but I will let you know what it means to be in pain. Why are you still sitting around and not taking action? Wang Tianyu scolded angrily, and the doctors immediately took action. Qian Yuman was put on the operating table. The doctors took out sedatives and anesthetics in an attempt to anesthetize Qian Yuman and make her calm down and stop cursing. Qian Yuman struggled violently when she saw the pinhole in the doctor's hand. Even though it was useless, she still struggled. Wang Tianyu, I curse you to give birth to a son from another family. If I lose my little baby, I curse you to have no descendants. You bastard, you bitch. Go to hell. Qian Yuman roared so hard that his voice became hoarse, but he was still struggling hard. She felt sorry for him and didn't want to lose her little treasure. Tangyuj, come and save me. Our little baby is about to be killed by your brother. Come and save me. Qian Yuman cursed Wang Tianyu and kept praying in her heart that someone could come to save her. The needle in the doctor's hand hit Qian Yuman's body. Her struggle was in vain, and the needle stuck into her skin, leaving a painful expression on her face. Although the sedative was not painful, she was devastated and felt as if her children were saying goodbye to her. Babies, I'm sorry, mommy didn't protect you well. Woo woo woo. Sorry. Qian Yuman shed tears sadly. At this moment, she clearly understood that Wang Tianyu was not trying to scare her, he really wanted to kill her. Wang Tianyu's face looked ugly. Seeing Qian Yuman gradually calm down, he felt no sense of relief in his heart. Because Qian Yuman kept glaring at him with hatred in his eyes, wanting to tear him apart. Don't do anything yet, Wang Tianyu ordered in a deep voice. The doctor immediately took out the abortion tools and approached Qian Yuman. Seeing them approaching, Qian Yuman kept shaking her head and staring at the doctor with pleading eyes, begging them not to hurt her babies. At this moment, the door was opened and a handsome man walked in. The visitor has short brown hair. The hair on both sides of the head is shaved very short, only the middle is slightly longer. It is neatly combed back with hair wax, making it fashionable and handsome. A handsome face of mixed Chinese and Western descent, with a ruffian-like smile. God bless you, have you scared people enough? Otherwise, Qian Yuman will be scared to death by you. The handsome Chinese Western mixed race man spoke in a lazy voice, and slowly walked towards them like an angel. Qian Yuman, who still had a hint of sanity, stared at the handsome mixed race guy with eyes that seemed to be shining with light. Angel, did an angel come to save her? Did an angel hear her pleas and come to save her little baby? So hot. The handsome man and gods were outraged. Woo woo woo. Wang Tianyu looked at his friend with a slightly angry look, and snorted a little arrogantly. Kenny, why are you here? Come here to stop you from losing your mind. Kenny Bryce, a handsome Chinese Western mixed race man, came over and waved to the doctors, who fled with relief. Qian Yuman, who was gradually falling into coma, wanted to get up and thank the handsome guy, but she couldn't open her mouth and her mind gradually fell into chaos. Kenny walked to their side. Qian Yuman, smiled at her and comforted her in a lazy voice. Go to sleep peacefully, you and your child will be fine. Qian Yuman looked at the strange man in front of her, this handsome mixed race guy, with grateful eyes. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 712. Chapter 712, Manman starts harem mode. 1. Thank you very much. Although I don't know who you are. Qian Yuman slowly closed her eyes and fell into coma. You have too much to worry about, Wang Tianyu sighed deeply. Not to mention, he originally wanted to scare Qian Yuman, but he was angered by her words and almost actually wanted to hurt her. but if Kenny hadn't arrived in time, he would have actually killed her. Kenny smiled indifferently, walked to Jianyuman, looked down at the unconscious Jianyuman, couldn't help but look at it a few more times, and then praised him. I didn't expect that Tangyu's wife is so beautiful. I couldn't help but want to trick her into her. What a pity. I have heard that Tangyu's wife is quite beautiful, but now it turns out that beauty is a curse. It's a pity that she is someone else's wife. What? Do you like it? Give it to you, Wang Tianyu said with a smile. The haze on his face just now disappeared again, and the speed of his face change did not slow down at all. When Kenny heard this, his eyes lit up. Really? You want to reward me with this little beauty? Wang Tianyu glared at his friend, turned and left, leaving Jianyuman alone, leaving her lying on the cold operating table. Kenny sighed regretfully. He had known his friend for so long, how could he not realize that he just made a casual joke and he almost took it seriously? Kenny glanced back at Jianyuman, who was in a coma, and he still bent down to pick up Jianyuman and carried her back to the room in a gentlemanly manner, unlike Wang Tianyu, who knew how to hurt the little beauty. Pity. The little beauty has a child in her belly, and she is still Tangyu's woman, otherwise he could really take action. You really care too much. Wang Tianyu suddenly came back and saw that Kenny had picked up Jianyuman, and wanted to it back from him with a look of displeasure. Look, you said you were reluctant to hurt the little beauty, but you still haven't admitted it. Tell me. Are you attracted to your sister-in-law? Kenny joked happily. Wang Tianyu seemed to have seen through his heart. He shook his head in embarrassment and said arrogantly, I will fall in love with this wild girl like her. You didn't hear it just now. She cursed people and got away with it. She directly greeted my 18 generations of ancestors and cursed me a lot. You savage girl, you look pretty cute to me, but not many people dare to pluck the hair from your tiger head. Kenny honestly returned Jianyuman to Wang Tianyu. Kenny stared at his friend meaningfully, and when he saw him carefully taking Jianyuman, his eyes looking at Jianyuman became a little gentle. Look. He also said he had no feelings. It is obvious to the authorities that if they had not had some feelings for Jianyuman, he could have thrown Jianyuman on a desert island instead of hiding her beauty in a golden house in this holiday resort where birds are singing and flowers are fragrant. Obviously, the authorities thought they were trying to further harm Jianyuman. Wang Tianyu put Jianyuman back into the room, covered her with a quilt, stared at her face still stained with tears, and couldn't help but reach out and gently wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. Stubborn and savage girl, she is as savage as a tigress for the sake of the child in her belly. Tangyuj has treated you like that before, and you still miss him. Wang Tianyu looked at Jianyuman for a long time, then turned and left to find his friend. Only then did he realize that his friend came to see him with his luggage and stayed in a room with a nice view without even saying hello to him in advance. Kenny, what on earth are you going to do? Kenny lazily took out the clothes from the suitcase and glanced at him. Vacation. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 713. Chapter 713, Manman starts harem mode. 2. Come to my place for vacation? You have nothing to do? Isn't the company busy? Wang Tianyu looked unwelcoming and wanted to drive away Kenny, who was an eyesore. Kenny hung up a piece of clothing, looked back at Wang Tianyu, and said with evil intentions. To tell you the truth, I'm here to pick up girls. I'm attracted to the little beauty. Wang Tianyu rolled his eyes towards the sky. He would only believe what he said. Seeing that he had brought a suitcase, he must be hiding from someone. When Jianyuman woke up, she immediately touched her belly and felt the curvature of her belly. The heart that was hanging in her heart finally relaxed, and she breathed a big sigh of relief. It's okay, okay, the babies are still in the belly fine. I'm sorry, little darling, for making you worried and scared. Don't worry, mommy will defend you to the death. Jian kept touching her belly and comforting the babies. Feeling a burning gaze looking at her, she slowly turned back and immediately saw a pair of sky blue eyes staring at her. When she woke up, he smiled handsomely at her. You're awake. Jian blinked and immediately recognized who the person in front of him was. She sat up from the bed and rushed to his side. The frightened Kenny took a few steps back, but she actually climbed out of the bed, knelt on the ground and hugged Kenny's thigh, still on his lap. Rubbed it? Angel, you are my angel. Thank you for saving my life. Jian burst into tears. She clearly remembered that she was caught on the operating table by Wang Tianyue, a crazy man who wanted to kill the baby in her stomach. Little darlings. It was the handsome mixed-race guy in front of her who saved her and the little baby. Without him, she might have lost them. Woo-oh. Angel, my angel. Kenny looked at Jian, who was holding her thigh and sitting on the ground, speechless. He watched her cry and rub her tears on his trousers. He didn't know what expression to put on his face, so he could only twitch the corners of his mouth in an attempt to pull his feet out of her hands. However, he ignored Jian gratitude. His attempt to pump his leg failed, and he finally stood with a helpless expression, letting her vent her emotions. Angel, what's your name? Oh, the man who killed 1,000 swords just called you Kenny. From now on, I'll call you Kenny Angel, Kenny Appa, Kenny Great God, and Kenny Man God. Kenny, your sister. Kenny complained in his mind, he should have gone in a few minutes later. Comrade Jian, can you let go of my thigh? His expensive suit pants were probably going to be scrapped because they were covered with her tears and nose. Jian slowly raised her head, with a face with red eyes from crying, and overflowing tears and runny nose. She looked so cute. Kenny quickly raised his head and covered his eyes. Where is the little beauty we promised? Where is the charming little woman we promised? Why was the little beauty so cute and charming when she was in a coma, but when she woke up, she looked like a dog-legged person? Can he knock her out now? She is even cuter in a coma. Angel Kenny, what's wrong with you? Jian looked innocently at Kenny, who was hopeless. Did she say something wrong? Stop calling me Angel. Kenny said sadly, his hand unconsciously clenched into a knife, and he was still at war with heaven and man in his heart. He told himself that the funny girl in front of him was a pregnant woman, so he couldn't hit her. If she did, she would be unlucky, and she might be chased by that kid from God bless. Killed. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 714. Chapter 714, Manman turns on harem mode. 3. Little funny boy, look at my pants. Kenny pointed to his trousers helplessly, reminding Jian what she was doing. She is also a little beauty, so pay attention to her image. Pants. Jian looked down at Kenny's pants and immediately showed an embarrassed smile. She stretched out her hand to wipe his pants. When she found that it was all her secretions, she took it back. Kenny Appa, you are my male god, Jian smiled brightly, making the best use of everything without any hesitation, wiping the tears from her face on Kenny's trousers. Let go of my pants, little kid. Kenny sighed helplessly, feeling that his life had been in vain for the past 30 years. This was the first time he saw a little beauty with such a contrast in appearance and personality. When you fall asleep, you are a little beauty, and when you wake up, you are a little funny. Jian twitched the corners of his mouth, smiled awkwardly, slowly let go of his thigh, and stood up from the ground. I'm going to change my pants. Kenny ran away like the wind. Qian Yuman looked at Kenny's running back, holding his chin in thought. This handsome guy looked familiar, as if she had seen him somewhere before, but she was sure it was their first time meeting him. Kenny. Kenny. Ah. Kenny Blythe? Oh my God. It's Kenny Blythe. Qian Yuman covered her face and screamed, almost unable to control her emotions. Qian Yuman is like a little fan, with red cheeks and little feet dancing. Who doesn't know the Bryce family, the richest Bryce family in the world, and Kenny Bryce is the eldest son of the richest man and the husband of women all over the world. Every girl has a dream to join a wealthy family, and Kenny Bryce is fantasy number one. He is handsome, the son of the richest man in the world, and his work ability is the right-hand man of his richest father. This is the first time Qian Yuman has met Kenny, but living in San Francisco, it is difficult for her not to know. He is also Chao Xiaofeng's male idol. He often holds his photo and says that he must marry Kenny Bryce in the future. I didn't expect Kenny Bryce to be Wang Tianyu's friend. It's unreasonable that such a kind angel would actually have a good relationship with the friend of Shachi and Deo. No matter what, without Kenny's rescue today, I and my little baby would be in danger. Qian Yuman walked out happily. When she came downstairs, she saw a young man downstairs, holding a newspaper in his hand and reading. Qian Yuman took one look and immediately recognized that this man was Dongfang Xiang, whom she had met once before, and he was also the biological son of Wang Tianyu's godfather. Dongfang Xiang has a face that is harmless to humans and animals. He is 1 year younger than Qian Yumanchi. He always has a smile as bright as the sun, but looking at his background, the son of the underworld boss is also known as the name Satan the Devil, shows that he is a person who is not easy to offend. I just saw Dongfang Xiang today. His complexion was not as good as last time on the cruise ship, and he was looking at the information calmly. Qian Yuman stared at Dongfang Xiang for a long time. He also noticed that someone was staring at him without raising his head. Have you seen enough? You can leave if you have seen enough. Qian Yuman was stunned. She didn't expect that his tone was so bad, and she couldn't help but pout. For the sake of your broken love, I won't argue with you. Qian Yuman couldn't help but choked back. Although Qian Yuman only met him once, she learned from Tangyuj that Dongfang Xiang liked Lan Tianlu's wife Xiaoling. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 715. Chapter 715, Manman turns on harem mode. 4. Xiaoling just got married to Lan Tianlu this month. The young man in front of him was a poor man who had just lost his love. Speaking of which, even though she were both destitute people in the world, they couldn't get people to like her. Hearing Qian Yuman mocking his lovelorn person, Dongfang Xiang dropped the newspaper in his hand, stood up suddenly and looked at her. Qian Yuman held out her belly without fear of death. Come. There is always a fight with me, a pregnant woman. Dongfang Xiang laughed out loud when he saw Qian Yuman acting like a gangster. It was rare for him to actually act like a gangster like him. Before Qian Yuman could decide the winner with Dongfang Xiang, another man appeared in the living room. When Qian Yuman saw Wang Tianyu's figure, she turned around and ran away without hesitation. She still remembered what Wang Tianyu wanted to do to her before she fell into coma. He wanted to kill the little babies in her belly. Kenny Appa finally saved the three of them, mother and son, and he must not let Wang Tianyu succeed again. Qian Yuman ran away when she saw Wang Tianyu, and her running speed was as fast as Lu Xiang's, and she disappeared in an instant. Wang Tianyu didn't even see Qian Yuman when he saw a figure leaping in front of him, leaving Dongfang Xiang alone in the living room. He almost thought he was being deceived. If not for seeing his good brother laughing and slumped on the sofa, he would have thought he was being deceived just now. What are you laughing at? Wang Tianyu punched Xiang Dongxiang without any courtesy. This kid actually dared to gloat and burst into laughter. Dongfang Xiang immediately covered his head and begged loudly for mercy. "Brother, God bless you, please don't kill me. I'm an innocent passerby. Who made that man so funny? He ran away like the of plague when he saw you." Wang Tianyu's face darkened. He originally wanted to let the boy in front of him go, but was immediately stimulated by his words. He punched him in the eye, leaving him with dark circles for several days. Dongfang Xiang covered his eyes pitifully and looked at Wang Tianyu with some resentment. "A guy who cares about over friends vents his anger on women on me. He is simply not a human being." After Dongfang Xiang said this, he ran away like a loach. Wang Tianyu is left alone in the same place and messy in the wind. Is he that scary? It seems that Jian Yuman's influence on him is getting worse. He was so scared just now. Maybe it was seeing Jian Yuman running away when she saw him that made him feel very complicated and irritable. After Jian Yuman disappeared, she originally wanted to hide in her room and never come out, but her ears became very sensitive today, and her eyes lit up when she heard some very ambiguous things. Jian Yuman tiptoed and walked cautiously and quietly toward a guest room. There are not many people in the whole room. Today, I saw two handsome guys coming here. Dongfang Xiang and Wang Tianyu are still downstairs, so the only person in this room is her male appa. Jian Yuman smiled mischievously and gently pushed open the unlocked door. Entering the door was a toilet. The door to the toilet was closed tightly, but it was indeed surrounded by glass. What a pity. The glass is textured. You can see someone taking a shower in the toilet, but you can't see clearly who is taking a shower. Judging from his height and appearance, Jian Yuman guessed that there was a man inside, and it was most likely Kenny Appa inside. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 716. Chapter 716 Peeping at a beautiful man taking a bath 1. Judging from his height and appearance, Jian Yuman guessed that there was a man inside, and it was most likely Kenny Appa inside. Oh my god. Kenny. The handsome guy just now was her little angel. Jian Yuman's eyes turned into love bubbles, and her little heart was beating fast. At this moment, the people in the bathroom are taking a shower, and they can still hear voices humming a tune, and they are in a very happy mood. When Jian Yuman saw the slightest impact, she immediately pictured Kenny taking a bath inside. Then she shyly covered her cheeks and almost made a sound from her throat, but Kenny discovered her presence. The handsome man is taking a bath inside? Definitely, if she continues to think about it, she may have random thoughts, or even. Jian Yuman's evil thoughts immediately appeared in her mind. She moved her face curiously, trying to see more clearly through the hazy glass, but found nothing. Obviously the effect is not very good, you can't see clearly at all, at most you can only see a hazy back, nothing more. Jian Yuman felt a little disappointed in her heart. It seemed that she couldn't take a peek. Just when Jian Yuman was about to give up, she noticed that the door was ajar. Oh my god. What is hidden can be pushed away. The little devil in Jian Yuman's heart immediately reappeared, her hands squeezed the handle uncontrollably, and her whole body became nervous. The person inside is Kenny Bryce, the eldest son of the world's richest man and the husband in the hearts of countless girls. Just looking at the back is a kind of blasphemy, but he actually gave her a chance to see Kenny Bryce taking a shower. If this was posted online, I don't know how many people would be envious of her for being able to see the photos of her boyfriend. Oops. Pity. Jian Yuman touched her pocket and remembered that she didn't have a mobile phone at all. If she had a mobile phone, she would definitely take photos and send them to Chao Xiaofeng so that she could see her boyfriend's unique photos. How many people would be envious of this? Jian Yuman felt that her face was flushed, and she was eager to open the door and feast her eyes on it. Will you be beaten later? If Kenny Appa saw him, would he think he was himself? She originally had nothing to admit. Would you feel very sorry for Tanyuj just like this? If he knew, what did he want from him? He had been angry with Murong 11 before, and she had even dropped the divorce agreement and decided to divorce him. If not just to see a few handsome guys, what else can we do? Just allow him to have someone in his heart, but not allow her to see the real-life photos of Kenny Oba? It would be a big loss if I don't watch it. I don't know when I will have the chance to watch it next time if I don't watch it this time. Look at it and it's fine. At this moment, Qian Yuman's inner desire overcame her reason. There was nothing more attractive than the scene of Kenny taking a bath. Tanyuj had long forgotten about the troubles at home. Who is Tanyuj? Does she know him? Kenny Appa is waiting for you to watch inside. Even if you don't want to watch it, the baby in your belly should watch it. It is said that appreciating beautiful things will make the mother feel happy, and the baby will be healthier and smarter. You can also show them the wonderful things in the world early. I believe the babies are all excited now. Qian Yuman covered her belly with her hands, and she could even feel the little baby in her belly getting excited. Qian Yuman is no longer at war with heaven and man. He can do whatever he wants. Why should he suppress his nature? Look. Come on. Her hand slowly reached towards the bathroom door. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 717. Chapter 717 Peeping at a beautiful man taking a bath too. Qian Yuman seriously gave herself many reasons why she wanted to spy on Kenny. The dream lover of girls all over the world, if you don't look at it for nothing, you will completely forget that you will be arrested and imprisoned for doing this. Qian Yuman's hand slowly stretched out to the bathroom door, and pushed it gently in. She slowly squatted down, her eyes darting around quickly. My heart was already filled with joy, and while I was trying to calm myself down, I couldn't help but push with my hands. Beautiful man, the scene of a beautiful man taking a bath. Her little angel takes a bath. Qian Yuman's hand just pushed open a little, and the door opened quickly, and Qian Yuman's obscene image was completely exposed to Kenny, who was about to open the door and come out. Kenny was completely unaware of the appearance of a wretched woman at his door. The woman was squatting half-crouched at the bathroom door, looking at her feet with a sly look on her face. Her face was red. What is she doing? Why is the posture so strange? Are you peeing? Qian Yuman watched the door open quickly, blinked, and looked at the door in confusion. Was she pushing that hard just now? She was so excited that she actually pushed the door open. If she pushed it so far, Kenny Oba might see her peeking at the door. By then, her image would be completely ruined and she wouldn't see anything important. No, there are two legs in front of me. Qian Yuman swallowed and realized something was wrong. There was indeed a pair of legs in front of her, and they were so close to her that she felt like she could touch them with her tentacles. She really stretched out and poked it, and it was wet and a little elastic and warm. It was so real, and she truly told herself what was going on with the legs in front of her. Qian Yuman slowly raised her head and saw Kenny with wet hair looking down at her. He had a towel wrapped around his waist and could not see inside. However, Qian Yuman judged that he must be wearing nothing underneath, and really wanted to stick his head over a little more to take a closer look at his measurements. What a pity. I should have pushed him away earlier. Why did I hesitate at the door for so long? Now I can't see anything. I can only see the chest and abdominal muscles of his upper body. His abdominal muscles are still 8-pack. I heard that not everyone can achieve 8-pack. Looking at his figure and bigger abdominal muscles than Tanyuj, I even thought that Qian Yuman moved a little as he watched. The figure is great, top-notch. I don't know what the thigh line is like and the size of items at the base of the thigh. In just 1 second, Qian evil mind thought of a bunch of weird things that were not things she should be thinking about right now. Qian, what are you squatting down to look at? Qian boldly glanced around Kenny's body. He felt as if he had been raped by her eyes just now, and goosebumps appeared all over his body. Pimple. Ha ha ha, Qian stood up slowly and felt that some liquid was flowing out of her nose. She knew what it was without wiping it off. It must be a nosebleed. Just looking at Kenny's upper body lines makes her nose bleed. She is worthy of being the first choice for a husband in the minds of young girls around the world. Kenny saw nosebleeds coming from Qian nose. A smile immediately appeared on his lips, and he looked at her with a bit of laughter and tears. He realized what she was doing squatting on the ground just now. Qian caught Kenny's meaningful look and was not nervous or embarrassed at all. Instead, she stretched out her hand and patted Kenny's smooth shoulder with serious words. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 718. Chapter 718. You don't like her anymore. 1. Qian said seriously and reached out to pat Kenny's smooth shoulder. Yes, yes, you are the second man to make my nose bleed. You are the only one who can also make my nose bleed without seeing the point. Not bad. Qian nodded and patted his shoulder while the old was talking nonsense. Kenny raised an eyebrow and stared at a pregnant woman with a nosebleed, a bulging belly, and a relaxed attitude in front of him. Can't help but wonder, are all young people today like this? Or the little beauty she is now? Or maybe all pregnant women are so shameless. He was not stupid. He had already figured out that Qian was standing at the door just now to peek at him taking a shower, but he was caught. Not only was he not shy, but he commented on his figure. Goodbye. Qian patted Kenny's shoulder again, and then the old walked out easily, wiping the nosebleeds on his nose as he walked. The moment she went out, her face turned red, and then she ran to her room like a whirlwind, locked herself in the room, and hid under the quilt, unwilling to come out. Oh my God. She's been discovered. I can't meet people anymore. How can I establish my image as a goddess in front of Kenny? How can I say that I, Qian, am also a goddess in the eyes of thousands of boys? Now my moral integrity is shattered. In the future, when Kenny sees her eyes, will he look at a sleazy gangster and a bold old driver? Although she has disguised herself very well for so many years and has hidden this side of herself very deeply. Woo woo woo. Would this affect my future voyeurism? I didn't see the point just now. If I had known better, I would have reached out and pulled it off. Qian became more and more excited as she thought about it. Her little heart was beating so fast and she was so excited. A certain old driver was obsessed with nymphomaniacs and had long forgotten about Xiaozhou at home, and Xiaozhou at home was looking at her photos and couldn't eat them. Qian, who had been excited in the room for a while, got up from the bed, covered her face with her hands, walked out of the room slowly, and came to Kenny's room. She poked her head in and stared at Kenny, who was already dressed and picking at his buttons. Kenny. Qian blinked and called softly. Hearing someone calling him, Kenny looked back and saw Qian. His eyes instantly became strange. Is she planning to show off her and pounce? Qian smiled brightly at him and walked in, intending to forget everything she had just done. She suffered from selective amnesia. What's up? Qian nodded, stared at the mixed-race face in front of her, and solemnly bent over to thank him. Thank you in advance for your life-saving grace. If it weren't for you, my little baby would definitely be killed by that 1,000-knife killer. Thinking about it, she felt scared. Kenny smiled and shook his head. Tianyu didn't really mean to do this. He just wanted to scare you. He didn't really want to hurt you. Even though Kenny said this, Qian had already classified Wang Tianyu as a bad guy, thinking that Kenny only said these words out of kindness and to say good things for Wang Tianyue. He is indeed her little angel with a kind heart. Why would he be friends with someone like Wang Tianyue? Qian Yuman sighed deeply. Kenny, can you take me away? Qian Yuman just tried to leave, but Wang Tianyue rejected her request. Obviously, Wang Tianyue will be locked up for a while. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 719. Chapter 719 You don't like her anymore. 2. I don't know how long this heartbroken man who killed 1,000 times will be locked up without contact with the outside world. She is almost going to be moldy, even though there are several more people talking in the room now. She could not wait for Wang Tianyue to let her go. Who knows if he will become animalistic again and have to deal with himself and the child in his belly. For the safety of her and the little baby, it would be better for her to get out of this place as soon as possible. Leave. Kenny raised his left eyebrow again, watching Qian Yuman look at him expectantly with interest. Yes, yes. Take me away. I don't know why Qian Dao kidnapped me here and wants to kill me and the child in my belly. I can't stay here forever. Everyone in my family is I don't know if I'm here, and I'm afraid they will worry about my comfort. Can you take me away? Qian Yuman looked at him expectantly. A man as good as Kenny will definitely agree to his request. Kenny reached out and touched his chin, staring at Qian Yuman. Qian Yuman couldn't figure it out, but Kenny knew very well what his friend was thinking and his purpose. He also tried to persuade me, but in the end he just kept going. No, before Kenny could finish his words, a voice sounded from behind Qian Yuman. Even if you ask Kenny, he can't help you. Wang Tianyue's voice sounded cold behind her. As soon as Qian Yuman heard Wang Tianyue's voice, she was scared and annoyed. She turned around and hid behind Kenny, stuck her head out, and stared at Wang Tianyue eagerly. With Kenny around, she feels more at ease and can hide in a safe haven. You have killed me thousands of times, and you still want to imprison me? Don't you know that imprisoning people is against the law? Believe it or not, I will go out to sue you, file a lawsuit with you, and let you go to jail. If I tell my husband, what will you do to me? Let's see if he will forgive you for what he did. Qian Yuman's mouth burst into laughter. Wang Tianyue's face was not very good to begin with. Hearing Qian Yuman's words, his face became even darker. But when he heard her mention Tangyuj, a mocking smile appeared on his face. Do you think I'm afraid of the police? It doesn't matter whether you can go out or not. If you me off, you'll be killed. Qian Yuman took a breath. This person was too arrogant. He was completely different from the Wang Tianyue in his memory. Although Tianyue was naughty and mischievous when he was a child, he would never be so cruel and bloody, and even threatened him with her life. At this moment, Qian Yuman had to admit that Tianyue was no longer the neighbor's kid. He was now a terrifying man. What on earth do you want to do? Is it going to do you any good? Just because the child in your belly belongs to Tangyuj, just because you are Tangyuj's woman, Wang Tianyue said cruelly. These points mean that Qian Yuman's life is tied to Tangyuj. How could Qian Yuman be missing from his plan to retaliate against Tangyuj? Qian Yuman grabbed Kenny's clothes tightly and shrank behind him with some fear. God bless you, don't scare the little kid. Kenny reached out and patted Qian Yuman gently to protect her. Wang Tianyue frowned in displeasure and stared at his friend. You seem to be particularly protective of her today, don't you have a crush on her? Kenny burst out laughing when he heard this. You think too much. I just don't want you to do something you will regret later. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 720. Chapter 720 Wang Tianyu's Hidden Injury 1. Wang Tianyu still looked unbelieving. Although he didn't say anything, his expression said that you just fell in love with her. Qian Yuman couldn't help but stare at Kenny with wide eyes. Could it be that Kenny Oppa really fell in love with her? She said that her charm was unrivaled in the world, and even the male gods in the eyes of countless girls around the world would fall in love with her at first sight. It seems that her charm is really amazing. She can seduce men at the level of male gods even with her belly held out for almost 4 months. Qian Yuman couldn't help but feel narcissistic, and her face completely reflected what she was thinking on her face. Kenny and Wang Tianyu looked at her speechless. Kenny, I can listen to you on many things, but you should not interfere too much with her. Wang Tianyu has his own stubbornness, which has been his for the past 11 years. Even though my friend has good intentions, he still stubbornly moves in the general direction he wants. Kenny sighed deeply and wanted to comfort his friends, but Wang Tianyu left without wanting to hear anything, leaving them with a lonely back. God bless you, when will you come out of the shadow of the past? After Wang Tianyu left, Qian Yuman walked out from behind Kenny and thanked Kenny very much for his rescue. Young kid Kenny put a hand on Qian Yuman's shoulder, and wanted to say some sad words, but Qian Yuman backed away in horror, then covered his chest with both hands, wary looking at myself. What do you want? Do you want to a pregnant woman? Do you think I am a casual woman? Although she refused other men without hesitation, Kenny could still consider it. A certain woman added without restraint. Qian Yuman looked wary, causing Kenny to forget to spit out the words stuck in his throat for a moment, and then burst into thunderous laughter. Little funny boy, you are indeed a little funny boy. Why are you so funny? With that look, I really wanted him to show off his and go a pregnant woman. His sad words that were stuck in his throat were all teased away by her. Why don't you do anything to me? Qian Yuman asked. Kenny nodded helplessly, feeling defeated by this magical woman. I just want to tell you that I can't take you out of here, but you can rest assured to raise the fetus here. God will not do cruel things to you and the fetus in your belly. He is also a bit vicious in his mouth, but his heart is still okay. You are his friend, you will definitely speak for him. Qian Yuman snorted. She had not forgotten what Wang Tianyu had done to her before. This could do anything. She had tried to commit suicide on herself twice a long time ago, but she had not yet taken revenge. Now she had arrested herself and wanted to give her an abortion. She had remembered this grudge. Are you going to collude with him? Why don't you save me when you see an innocent young woman being arrested? I didn't expect you to be a two. Qian Yuman's anger shifted a little, thinking that Kenny would help her and break away from Tianyu's imprisonment. Unexpectedly, he just said nice things and helped Wang Tianyu say nice things without leaving without him. Kenny shrugged helplessly. I can't help you anyway. If I choose to break up the relationship with my brother and rescue you, I will naturally choose my brother, not to mention this is God's territory. End of this chapter.